Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole, hosted by two nationally published Atlanta interior designers, Joanne Kandrak and Kelly Cole. These energetic women are also world travelers, charity givers, and bloggers with a wealth of information to share and stories to tell about the interior design world. Okay, now just a warning, this is going to be fun and not too serious. After all, they still do have an interior design business running at full speed.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole. This is Kelly, and you are listening to episode 25, How to Get Published. So we've worked really hard to have our design projects published nationally and regionally, and we've been successful doing so many times over. To us, it's really that stamp of approval from the highest level of our peers, which are the editors of the magazines that we covet and we read every single month. Our first national publication was a 6-page spread in Southern Lady magazine, and oh my gosh, we were so excited. We still are. We're just so proud of that feature, and we have kind of been published consistently ever since. Our next one's coming up in August, the August-September issue of Southern Cottage, which is published by Engaged Media, and I'm psyched about that one.
Yes, it's a really, really good, colorful one.
Yeah.
But to be totally honest, we've never really received a single client from being published. But it has certainly built our credibility in the eyes of those prospective clients that care about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you go to our website and you click on the press page, I mean, I have to say, it's really pretty impressive. We've been very lucky. So we'll consider this another one of our teaching episodes for our fellow designers and new designers as we share what we've learned along the way on how to get published.
So I remember years ago, we took a coaching class with Arkansas designer Toby Fairley, and I remember her saying, when I walk into a home of a new client, I'm designing with the end in mind, with how my design will look when it's photographed and published. And I was like, wow, like you're automatically going to assume it's being published, and you're already kind of thinking with that vision. And I didn't quite understand it. We were new at the time, but now I totally get it.
Yeah.
Right?
So we kind of take this approach now as well. So it helps us to focus on, every wall, every corner to make sure that the design is balanced and full. That's one of the things in photography. It does look different through the lens. I'm laughing because I think about, remember there used to be they were like these directors, and they would take their thumbs together and put their hands up.
Yeah.
Like they were, trying to see if this person would be a movie star, like what they'd look through like the lens. But it's so true.
Yep.
That's how it is with photography. So if we kind of design with that viewpoint in mind, and we try not to miss anything.
Well, you know how if just say you're on vacation and you see something that's so beautiful, you're like, oh my God, this is breathtaking. I got to take a picture. And then you snap a picture and you're like, that's not as great as I thought it was through my eyeballs. And that's how it is with the magazines. We really have to design, we have to prepare for the photo shoot in a different way. But let's start out with, for us, probably the number one thing besides, designing with that eye for publication right from the get-go is when we come in on install day and we leave, that space is finished. It is designed fully. There's really nothing left for the client to do or to worry about unless, picture frames, of course, will be filled and little details like that. But we have already worked hard throughout the process to incorporate a lot of the client's personal, things.
And we don't mean that we leave it so that it looks like it's perfect for a magazine. It's still very livable. There's cozy throws, and there's, fresh soaps and laundered linen. So it's, but on for the day of the photography, of course, we're bringing in, flowers and all that. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, it's just about ready to be photographed.
It really is. And as it should be. I mean, why wouldn't we, design it to the nth detail? That's our job. And our clients, I mean, if we forget a single thing, believe me, our clients will be like, but what
should I put there?
I need to get a throw? Well, what color? What kind? Don't worry, we'll take care of it.
Yeah. Probably number one investment should be the photography, the quality of the photography.
Yep.
And we have saved up, sometimes for months to be able to pay for that photography, but not only for a publication, but for your website, for your social media. If I go on to a website and I see like iPhone photos are pretty good, but you can tell the difference in the lighting and the layering with a professional photograph. And if I go to a website and I see 10 so-so photos, I'm not going to be as excited unless I would see maybe 3 absolutely beautiful ones. So only save the really, really good ones for, for that purpose. There's scouting shots, but that's another story.
I remember when we were at a conference.
Southern Sea, probably.
No, it was one at the Fox Theater with Kelly Ellis and
Design camp.
Yeah, we were at design camp, and who was the editor of Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles before he went to Veranda? I'm just having
Clint Smith.
Of course,
Clinton
Clint Smith. So I went up to Clinton and I was like, okay, who are your favorite photographers when you're when people send you shots for possible publication? And he gave us like 4 photographers, and we called them up. I mean, why not? I might as well use the photographers that the magazines because the days of, when we very first started, the magazines would send out a photographer and shoot the whole thing all over again. And, with budgets being cut and funding low, they don't have that ability. Some still do, but a lot don't. So if we can provide...
It gives you a little extra edge if you've got already beautiful photography and it's done by someone that they, really value and like.
So just to give you an idea here in Atlanta, but we used a photographer up in Chicago, and he was about the same price, but we pay anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 for a shoot, depending on if it's a half day or a full day. So just multiply that if we need a couple of days for a full house or something. But it's an investment, but our website wouldn't look as good. We would never get published without it. So my advice is research photographers in your area and pay for the best, even if you can't photograph, all of your projects. And there's been at least 3 times when we're like, let's just try this like local guy who just graduated, who's like hot at the tech school, whatever, and oh my God, no.
Same. It's not the same.
It has blown up in our face every time. Sure, they charged us $500, but it was not.
Yeah. So preparing for that day, is a really big deal because this is your chance. You've got the photographer's time and there's no like running out for something. So we always tell the client to have the space as clean and tidy as possible. You know how we are. And then, what we'll also try to do when we're at the install, we'll kind of like look through the lens like a photographer and see where there might be holes. We'll like say, well, that looks great for now, but for the photo shoot, we're going to need to fill this in where it might not necessarily work for the person every day, but we need it for the photo.
Yeah. And the other thing that I find with the better photographers is that they are great with stylizing themselves. Like, remember we had that one guy and he just stood there and he didn't have an opinion. Like, if we are working with, say, Emily Followell or Lauren Rubinstein or 2 of our favorites, they're very proactive in okay, let's get that chair out of there. We really don't need 4.
Oh, wait, there's a piece of lint on that, navy blue sofa that I can see through the lens.
Yeah. And we have a very good eye, and we look through the lens ourselves, which is another advice I would give is, I don't want to step on their toes or get in their way, but if they invite us to look through the lens too, we have an opinion as well, and then collaboratively we come up with a great shoot. But I really rely on them and kind of their expertise for how things are going to come out.
And then we do our own stylizing, which that's a whole nother, job for somebody. And some people do it really, really well. But it's something, once you're investing in the photography, it's hard to kind of bite the bullet to have somebody come and stylize it. We've done a lot of research on it. We've looked at a lot of things that people are doing. So we've gotten pretty good at it. Kelly's the ultimate like flower arranger. She does really good with that. And then we just, we just know where to fill in. Kitchens need to be done a certain way, and maybe we'll just have a little episode on how to stylize, one day, because that's a really big part of it.
Fresh flowers are absolutely key. They bring a space to life on the pages of the magazine. So we usually make them pretty large. We make them one color generally. They just come out better if it gets really busy if you have a bouquet that's filled with tons and tons of flowers. So I will get the ones we use the most are roses if it's applicable to the space, tulips, gardenias.
I love maidenhair.
I mean, not gardenias, hydrangea.
Yeah, maidenhair ferns for greenery.
Yeah.
Get them the night before because I'd kill them in a couple days, but they're so pretty.
But I always do get them the night before because, especially if I'm doing tulips, I want them to fall. And they just look so pretty when they're all kind of weeping. Yeah. The other advice I would have, if you're going to do your own flowers, like we have a wholesale florist nearby, so we're, because we're in the trade, we can go and buy volumes. We don't do the grocery store kind of flowers. Costco sometimes helps us out, but so I'll go to the wholesale florist and see what they've got. And but yeah, the night before is really important, so they all lay well. And I always buy way more than I think I'm going to need.
Yes,
so
this is true.
Yep. So what else do we do to prepare? Let's see.
Oh, like for
fresh flowers.
Yeah, kitchen, like dressing a kitchen.
Yeah, that's
you always,
hard. I always struggle with
this. This is the one thing, and a lot of editors have told us this. You have it has to tell kind of a story.
Yes.
So if you are doing, we did a kitchen one time that had for a lady who was from New York, and we had some black and white photography actually in her kitchen over her eating area, and the kitchen was black and red, and so we had stylized it, I guess, with some vegetables and a few things. But when they came to shoot it, that was one that they came and shot. She did like a spaghetti theme.
Yes.
So
and it made perfect
they were
sense.
thinking New York, Italian, all that kind of thing. So it has to look like you're in the midst of doing something. It can't really look staged.
And it's tricky because I still look in magazines and I think a lot of the kitchens are completely over stylized. If I see a loaf of Italian bread mixed with vegetables, mixed with olive oil, mixed with wine glasses, I'm like, oh God, I can't even see the kitchen, but
it's a fine line. It's really a fine line.
It is a fine line. And we've asked editors when our work, don't breathe down their necks, give them at least a month to check out what you've sent them. And if then we'll follow up. And if they say, no, it's not right for us right now, I'll say, was there anything about those photographs that you didn't like? And most of the time they're a little uncomfortable to say it. But some have and said, like for example, my house was published in
Southern
Homes. And I had what I thought were the prettiest tulips I've ever seen in my whole life, in hot pink, because my house is pink, hot pink and all these colors. And I also had a big flat screen TV that I thought was, I had black all over my house, so it was sleek, it was black, it was on brick, it was whatever. And so the editor came back and said, we absolutely love this, but we need original art instead of the TV, and my editor doesn't like tulips. So I was like, okay, whatever you want, you're going to get. So I ended up putting hydrangeas, I think, which I didn't think looked nearly as good, but they liked it.
Yeah,
so
it's all about what they want. So that's a big part of it. So, we're sitting here telling you how to do all this, but where do you begin? Mm-hmm. How do you know who to send it to? And I've learned, though, it's not as intimidating as you might think it would be. Mm-hmm. Editors, scouts, they're looking for projects. Mm-hmm. I tend to think there's some magazines that use the same designers over and over, and I really like when I see something new. So I might think sometimes maybe they're just not getting enough. Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to reach out to them and not be shy about it.
Yes, and if you open up the magazine and you look at the masthead, which is couple pages in on the left-hand side, and you'll see all of the people involved with that magazine. And I always look for the editorial director. You don't start at the tippy top because they're very busy, but try to find, kind of a staff member a little bit lower down. And we also have great scouts like Lisa Mowery here in Atlanta. She is a wonderful scout. and we give our work to her, and then she shoots it out to the magazines that she writes for. And she's been a wonderful resource for us.
We've been to conferences where they will have editors. The Southern Sea had editors from Coastal Living, Southern Living, Real Simple, and maybe
Hoffman Media.
Hoffman Media. And so they talked about what they want, what they like to see, and what they want to get. And they sometimes will find people on Instagram.
They said they found a lot on Instagram.
They, post your work on there. And if they're looking, let's say you've just done a really beautiful coastal room and they're looking for something that there's an element in there that you have in that picture, they will reach out to you. They will find you.
Yeah.
So just keep, like we said, get that good photography and post this stuff on Instagram.
I will say that some of the higher level magazines do not want the project put on your website or out in any other
you need
major
to
media
save it.
form. You got to save the goodies. So we'll kind of like put vignettes or teasers out on social media, but not the whole gig.
Yeah. So another really great tip that I can give you is there's a girl named Amy Fleury, and she writes a book called Recipe for Press. And she has like 20 years of editorial experience. She's been in the editorial business for a very long time. She has worked with Country Living, Better Homes and Gardens. She's traveled abroad, covering shows, flea markets, France, all this kind of stuff. And she, because of her career in publishing, she authored her first book, Recipe for Press, and it's all about how to pitch a story and create buzz. And then I actually met her at America's Mart here in Atlanta. She was talking about her book because she speaks quite a bit. And I got that book, and they would tell you there's a lot of great tips. And she just came out with a brand new one. So I would definitely run out and get that book.
Yeah, because we're just kind of touching on some major things for you. Another bit of advice, I'm going to just kind of backtrack a little bit on how to prepare for a photo shoot. But I can't remember who told us this. I want to say it might have been Toby again, when she was like, okay, now when you stylize, you gotta don't let it look like you just went all out at TJ Maxx. Kind of, you gotta get that unique stuff in there. But the biggest thing of all is original art. And if your client can't afford original art, no problem. I can't tell you the amount of times we have gone to our local galleries. DK Gallery is one of the most generous. And I'll go up to Donna, the owner, and say, hey, we have a photo shoot. Can I borrow that piece of art for 24 hours? Stick it on the wall. And it makes the biggest difference,
Yeah.
So original art is really big because these magazines, they don't want to see the same old at all.
Yeah, they want things that are really different. And going back again to telling the story, there has to be sort of a kind of a catch to it.
Yeah, because a lot of magazines want to publish a picture of our clients and tell their story.
They want to give, what does the reader want? That's in the back of their minds all the time. What are we giving to the reader?
Yeah.
So they're always going to want the vendors. And, where did you get
products.
that? We recently, actually, the Southern Cottages feature, I was speaking with the scout, Meryl Schoenberger, and she was asking me a bunch of questions about the space. And so she said, okay, do you happen to know the color of that dining room? I go, oh, yeah, that's Sherwin-Williams Salty Dog. She's like, oh, my God, I love you. She said, you're so prepared. You have all the information. Editors like that. You have to respond quickly. If you ever get something from a magazine that says, "Oh, we're looking for this," drop everything you're doing, find it, and send it right away because the first one in there has a better chance.
They've got a hard job. Think of all they have to look through, and they're producing 3 months in advance. So
sometimes longer.
Which reminds me, if another good thing, I'm sure this is in Amy's book, but don't be shy about calling up the magazine. I remember when we were new designers, this just scared the heck out of me, and asking if they could just email their editorial calendar because they might be doing a outdoor living feature. They might be doing a Christmas feature, but you need to know that way in advance because they generally shoot the Christmas feature in the summertime.
Yeah.
So, getting in line with them is because we've offered things and they're like, oh, it's just the timing's wrong. We might be doing that feature next year. It's like, oh.
And another thing, this doesn't necessarily just, this is just not really about national publications.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do things locally. I mean, we have gotten work based on some things that we've had published locally. So go for that. Blogs. I mean, sometimes
House of Turquoise has helped us so much. That's a great one.
Those blogs may get more eyes on them than the actual person,
Yep.
flipping through a magazine. So
we
don't
have
be
Style
afraid.
Blueprint here in Atlanta. Who else has Style Blueprint?
Nashville and
Oh gosh, there's several. We're going to get in trouble by our
maybe
friend Lisa.
Maybe Alabama. Yeah.
But anyway, they've got amazing readers, and they've always done such great features on us. But yeah, don't be discouraged if it's, oh my gosh, the amount of coverage we have gotten from the Atlanta Journal. Is it the Atlanta Journal Constitution
Yes.
or Marietta?
AJC.
AJC. I mean, we will do what they do
it's
is
Marietta Daily Journal.
it's
Every
Marietta
time
Daily
we do
Journal.
a newsletter. Yeah.
Yeah, we do a newsletter, and they're following us, and they'll just, without even telling us, they'll take all the content from the newsletter and post it in the Sunday paper. And it's so
someone
awesome.
will go, oh, I saw that. I was like, saw what? Oh my God, they're so nice to us. Yeah.
So hopefully that's helpful. It's really a commitment for sure. I've heard so many designer friends say, oh my gosh, I have so many projects to photograph. We photograph literally within a month of install because God only knows what will happen to the house once we're gone. So we want to get in there pretty quick before the dog does something or the kids do something or whatever. So hopefully that was pretty helpful. Yep.
All right. So this quote for the day is really about what we're talking about. So the quote is, once again, author unknown, sell the solution to the problem, not the product. So once again, in regard to publication, or when we're dealing with our clients, we're not just making it beautiful. We're solving a problem.
Yes.
So
we're fulfilling a need.
Yes, fulfilling a need. So sometimes they're always looking sort of for like an edge to why should we publish a story? What problem have you solved for these people? And so the one that's about to come out is a family who have a very large house. But they don't want it to feel like a large house. They want it to be comfy and cozy. So a lot of the things that we put in there were really large scale, but it doesn't look like it because it's
the house could take it. Yeah.
And so it's really all about how to make a large home feel cozy.
And they were really interested in the challenges that we had. Like this builder did some quirky stuff that we were just like, what are we supposed to do with that floor to ceiling niche that has no purpose whatsoever?
So if you're pitching to somebody, you don't just send the picture. Give a little bit of the story. Like, why should they publish that? What's in it for their reader? That's really what they want.
That is a good point. Okay, this is our funny quote for the day, and this is so me. So in Georgia,
once again, I don't really get this.
You don't get this?
I mean, I get it, but it's
this is something that I would do. Well, first of all, on July 1st, Georgia went hands free in the car. So I already have my phone up on a dock on a magnet because we use Waze so much because, well, the gallivanting we do around Atlanta. But I will say that as soon as I'm in a stoplight and I'm bored, I'm reaching for my phone. So I'm totally going to get busted. I'm trying really hard. But so this is so me. This would be me. So here we go. Ready? There's no reason to tailgate me when I'm...
Here she goes again.
There's no reason to tailgate me when I'm doing 50 and a 35, and those flashing lights on top of your car look ridiculous. That would be so me. Do you get it?
No.
Okay, I'm speeding, and there's a cop behind me.
Right.
But I'm too busy mouthing off thinking this person is tailgating me, and they have stupid lights on top of their car.
You don't realize that it's a cop.
Get it?
Oh, yeah.
She never gets my funny jokes, but I think they're hilarious.
Yeah, she amuses herself. That's perfectly fine.
That's all that matters.
As long as she gets enjoyment
but
out of it,
you have to
matters.
think of the attitude that's going with, and those flashing lights on top of your car look ridiculous. That would be me. Okay, everybody.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so next week, what are we talking about? Next week, Joanne's leaving me again. I have a guest speaker or, a guest that's joining me. We're going to have some fun. And Carrie Peebles, she's amazing. And we are going to talk all about organization. And she is the queen. So we're going to.
It's going to be a really good one.
Yep. So, okay. Well, that's it.
Thanks for listening. Oh, wait, I have to say really quickly, thanks to the people. I put something out on Instagram asking people what kind of topics they would like to hear from us, and we got a lot of really good ones. So
Awesome.
Stay tuned. We'll try to figure out a way to weave those all in because they were all really good.
Yeah. All right, everybody, have a great week. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Join Joanne and Kelly weekly for a lively conversation about trends, travels to industry events, current design projects, the good, the bad, and the ugly, do's and don'ts, product recommendations, and more. Be sure to follow the fun on Facebook. They're on Instagram at Kandrak Cole, and of course, you've got to visit them online at kandrak-cole.com for more information.